Greetings folks, today we're going to be talking about assembling your party and how you can use your characters' backstories to inform your campaign design. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I've been making a series of videos dedicated on creating homebrew D&D campaigns and recording every step of the process. If you like what you see, make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all of the latest. We're in a pretty good place with our campaign planning right now. We know about the land that our campaign is going to take place in, we know about our central conflict, we know about some of the gods and religions, and we know about some of the locations. But before we make our starting location or create our big bad, we need to know who our party is going to be. I like to get an idea of who my players are going to be playing as, who their characters are going to be, before I finish my campaign planning and before we start playing, because I find that it helps me to plan some early level content and even some later level content for them. For example, if any of your players are going to be playing a strange or uncommon race that draws attention to themselves in the world, you can use that in your planning for the start of the campaign. So how do we get started with this process of assembling the party? Well, the first thing that you want to do is you want to give your players an idea of the world they're going to be playing in. This is usually done via a one-page handout that gives your players some information on the world they're going to be playing in, but you can give them this information verbally as well. Once you've given your players a little bit of time to digest that document, it's time to schedule a session 0. Session 0 is where you and your players, either in person or virtually, all get together and start making your characters. Now, this step isn't absolutely necessary. A lot of more veteran players are quite capable of creating really cool characters without having to do it around each other and around the GM. They can just go out, make their character and bring it to the table ready to play. But if you have a beta session of sorts where all your players get together at the same time to make their characters together, it really helps start that bonding process that bit earlier and helps everyone feel more comfortable at the table as quickly as possible. I'm a big fan of having all the characters in the party know each other before you start playing your campaign. This doesn't necessarily mean that they have to be childhood friends, but I like having them know each other even just for one adventure's worth of time beforehand, because it can cut down on some of the awkward introductions at the table. Each player can introduce their character to the table in a less forced way. They can sit around out of character, introduce them to the other players because the characters already know each other. So this is the players getting to know these characters that they're adventuring with. And then when the campaign itself starts, they don't have to be introduced to each other. There's no awkward in-character dialogue of them meeting each other. They already know about each other and they're ready to go right from the start. So this session 0 is a great way for your players to bounce ideas off each other, get character ideas, and figure out how they're going to synergize with each other in and out of combat. At the start of the session 0, you want to lay out what this campaign is going to be. So again, you want to give them that elevator pitch on what the setting that you're going to be running them through is and what's brought them all together. And then you want to sit back, and you've got two main jobs during this session 0. The first is going to be to answer any questions they have about the setting or about the rules. But the second, and in my opinion the most important, is to sit there and listen. Listen to everything they say about their characters and make as many notes on it as you can, because that's almost certainly going to be a gold mine of new plots that you can use in the future or ways that you can engage these characters in your story moving forward. By listening to the players as they talk about their characters, as they get excited about ideas, and noting things that they say down, when you bring these elements into your game, maybe dozens of weeks in the future, your players are going to be amazed that the things that they wanted to see have come to life in front of them. So they might forget that they brought these things up during session 0, and it might feel to them like you just know their character so well and know what they as a player want so well and are putting it in front of them. And that's going to lead to a lot of player satisfaction, which is what we want at the end of the day. Once the players have all created their characters, I like to give them a background sheet, which I've spoken about in another video. You can see that up here. but I like to give them their background sheet for them to fill in all the key information about their character. I'll link that blank document in the description below as well. And then I go away, I take the notes I've made during session 0, I take their character background sheets, and that's where my work, that's where your work as the DM is going to really start, because you're going to be taking all this information that they've laid out for you in their conversations with each other or in their character backgrounds, and you're going to be turning that into awesome plots and characters and events that can take place in your campaign. For example, if all of your players chose to play as characters who are chaotic aligned, maybe you'll have them start as prisoners during a jailbreak because that fits with their alignment. Conversely, if they're all lawful characters, maybe they're the guards during a prison break, or they are escorting prisoners during an ambush, or things like that. You can also mine their backgrounds and the things they've talked about for really great bad guys. So for example, if one character has said that they are prone to gambling and they once got in debt with a mob boss, maybe they arrive in a new city as part of their first session and they find out that there is a big mob boss in the city that controls all of the crime in the city, and maybe that mob boss is the same one as from your character's background, and you've instantly got an engaged character with one of your first big bads. We're going to talk more about that really soon and how to use different big bads at different stages of the campaign and how to make them personal to your players. But that's just a good example of how to mine their backstory to finish off your early campaign planning. But one of the best things that can come from having a session 0 and from watching all your characters be made together and getting these background sheets is it can lead you down paths that you would never have thought of on your own. For example, in my current game, right back when I had all of my players fill in their character background sheets, the party wizard mentioned that his father left when he was really young and he doesn't know the circumstances under which his father left. Well, that one nugget of information slowly grew and grew until eventually that wizard was taken prisoner, a doppelganger was made of them, and that doppelganger travelled with the party for months before they were killed, and it was discovered that the party had been travelling with an imposter. And that all came from one little line in the character's backstory that would never have come up otherwise. So be open to what your players are saying, listen to them, and listen to what makes them excited while they're making their characters. If 2 or more players are talking about something that could have happened, shared in their past, latch onto that. Ask for details, jot down notes, incorporate that event into the background of your world as a whole so that it's not just the players that are referencing that event, it's NPCs as well. Or maybe you've got 2 players who are talking about how when they get to a higher level they have a set of rules that they think will synergize really well. Well, maybe you can plan that out and think of a way to cement that union between the 2 of them in game. That's it for this week, folks. With our party assembled, we're ready to get started working on our starting town in preparation for our very first game in our new homebrew campaign. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Hit that like button if you did, hit the subscribe button if you're new, and I want to hear from you how you've incorporated things that your players or their characters have said from their backgrounds or during discussions in session 0. I want to know how you've incorporated that into your game in the comments below. But until next time, happy gaming. Thanks for watching. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below for new content every single Friday. And if you want to keep watching, well, there's another couple videos for you to watch just over there. Happy gaming.